The Orlando Magic may have just found their secret weapon, or at least it's not so secret to us, but just about everybody else in the NBA. Today we're going to be talking about the play-in game MVP Cole Anthony. What was said after the game, how his game could potentially translate to the Boston Celtics series, as well as just a general preview coming up for this first round matchup between the Orlando Magic and the defending champion Boston Celtics. Guys, welcome to Magic Digest. I'm your host, Patrick Previty. This is your one-stop shop for Orlando Magic basketball content here on YouTube. As you guys know the drill, we're only 25 subscribers away from 1,000, so we're actually closing in on that number. 45% of you who are watching regularly are subscribed, so congratulations. 54.7%. Guys, join the club. We come out with about 5, 6, 7, maybe even Orlando Magic videos per week. We're covering the Magic as they go through the NBA playoffs and beyond. Been covering it since last year in the free agency period. So it's been a nice way, or been a nice ride, and a nice way to kind of see this team grow as well as this channel. Okay, so as we all know, Cole Anthony was the MVP of this play-in game, was the difference maker. Franz and Paolo didn't really have it going. Franz has something going on with this shot. We'll probably talk about that in future videos leading up to this series. I believe their first game is on Sunday. Something's going on with that shot. I don't know what it is. It looks like he's almost got a hitch. Paolo Banchero kind of started the game out not really shooting the ball well. He also wasn't as aggressive, but he was passing on a double team. So you needed somebody else to step up, and Anthony Black certainly did off the bench, and a lot of bench players ended up providing some solid minutes for this team in that Atlanta Hawks win. Wendell Carter Jr. even played pretty well, but it was Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony scored 26 points in this game, and 13 of his 26 points came in the fourth quarter when they needed to just put the Atlanta Hawks away. That's when you kind of saw Trae Young have a little bit of an outburst, if you will, right? And he ended up getting ejected. That was partially because of Anthony Black's defense, but because Cole Anthony wasn't going to let the Atlanta Hawks truly get back into that game. The Magic were able to blow them out of the water at the very start, and then they were able to take it home in the fourth quarter, and that was so crucial. They had a 41-point quarter, and the team rebuilt their lead to as much as 27 points, and as we all know, they won this game by 25 points. We've seen Cole Anthony do this before, where he's gone off for just a crazy game so far this year, and I think that's something that we could potentially see more of. If we really, really need him to step up, I think we can call on Cole Anthony, and I do think he's going to get that start against the Celtics in Game 1. I don't think it could be Corey Joseph anymore. No offense to Corey Joseph, he's been playing good basketball, but I think it's going to be Cole Anthony. When we take a look at his season stats, this is why he is a bit of a secret weapon, because if you haven't really been paying attention to what's going on with the Orlando Magic this year, you don't know that Cole Anthony was slumping at the very beginning of the year and was averaging like 4 to 6 points for a long time, almost into the month of December, until he finally got back on Jamahl Mosley's good side, and he ended up he started some games in December as well, and kind of putting the team on his back, along with Jalen Suggs when Franz and Paolo were out, to win some basketball games. He delivered one of the best games of the season. He scored 35 points in the Magic's 27-point comeback win over the Miami Heat. Do you guys remember that? I made a video on that. This was back in December, obviously, and he hit a go-ahead basket, I believe, quickly after that against the Brooklyn Nets. That was a 1-point win, and he was carrying this team. We know he's capable of doing it, and if you haven't really been watching the Orlando Magic, you wouldn't have understood, but we all are aware that his season has completely turned around after the first couple of months of the year, and got to be really, really proud just as a fan of watching him play some basketball and actually look like he's having a ton of fun. So there was plenty of post-game stuff, but I came on last time a little bit too early before the quotes came out. So we're going to roll through a couple of them. Then we're going to end on Cole Anthony's quote that he had after the game. This was Jamahl Mosley. He was just talking about the general team with this one. That was a big-time team effort. These guys all stepped up, played their role, did what was asked, and followed the game plan. Look, this team had plenty of options coming off the bench, right? You're thinking, who can potentially step up? We know that this team is capable on any given night of having some of those guys step up, but it doesn't always happen. Some nights you end up with a stinker of an offensive game, 84 points, 89 points, 92 points. But this team had plenty of production coming off the bench. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner did not combine for what I thought they needed to get. I thought they needed to get like 50 total points. Or, you're thinking that they do. We've seen games where even they do combine for 50 total points and this team scores 93. and they lose the game. That wasn't the case. This was an overall team win. Obviously, Cole Anthony was the leader in that game. Moving to the next quote. This is Wendell Carter Jr. on Cole Anthony. Wendell Carter Jr. and Cole Anthony have been staples for this Magic team and this organization for so long now. We all know who Cole is. Cole is one of those guys you can throw him out there up 10 or down 10, and he can change the whole perspective of the game. He's a gamer. No matter the situation, he's going to rise to the occasion and try to figure out a way to help this team win. This quote kind of had a little bit of a soft spot for me when I saw this after the game, because those guys have truly been together now on the Orlando Magic for a while. They were kind of remnants of the pre-Paolo teams that we had saw, and this team did a lot of losing with those guys out there on the floor. But they're contributing to winning basketball. They're still together, and they're two guys that I have floated around in 100 different trade videos. And even when the trade deadline was rolling around, I was still saying maybe there should be some consideration. Obviously, Wendell Carter Jr. couldn't be traded, and Cole Anthony certainly wasn't going to be traded by the deadline because he had already picked up his game by that point, and you weren't going to sell high on a guy who was a great team leader. But these are guys that had something to prove at certain points this year. And Wendell Carter Jr. has been playing well as well in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So awesome to see both of those guys contributing to winning basketball. Let's move to the next quote. We're going to go back to Jamahl Mosley here. He talked about Cole Anthony. It's been an up and down year for him. But just his energy, his spark, his juice, what he provides for this team coming off the bench, he plays fearlessly. And that's how we need him to continue to play. And I think that is a slight little give of, he's giving us a glimpse at why I think Cole Anthony's going to be the starter. I understand if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but I don't think we should wait for Corey Joseph to potentially not have as great of a game to remove him from the starting lineup. I think Cole Anthony has earned it and has taken it, so why not give it back to him? I think he certainly deserves it. Coming off that injury that he suffered later on in the year that he was kind of rehabbing with, and came back a little later than maybe a lot of people would have liked, but this team stayed afloat. He has certainly looked healthy, and it looks like this is going to be his team that he can help lead against that tough Boston Celtics team. All right, so as I mentioned, I wanted to include one last quote from Cole Anthony post-game. I found myself in a situation when the ball was in my hand. I was fortunate enough to have some teammates to put me in a situation where I was able to get easy shots. I was in a situation where I could get them some easy shots. I just felt good. It was a great game. This was a game we didn't want to let this go. For us, we weren't going to lose tonight. That wasn't an option. Look, if Cole Anthony did not play the way that he did, this team loses, and it might not even be all that close, in all honesty. Even though this team won by 25 points over an Atlanta Hawks team that kind of crumbled as the game went on and wasn't able to give Trae Young any help, this team probably would have lost this, because the Magic shot pretty poorly from three as well in this game, and that's usually the killer for us, and we all know this. And even though this team was able to rebound well, play some really good defense, specifically on Trae Young, as I mentioned earlier, they weren't really producing anything offensively, especially in the middle quarters. And they let Atlanta encroach on this game. I don't really know how much of a chance they had by the time some of the shots started rolling. The early runs, or the early part of the last run for the Orlando Magic began, but they got closer. And this team does not win without Cole Anthony. That is for sure. Okay, as I mentioned, I wanted to also talk about the upcoming series against the Boston Celtics. Watch out. We're going to be doing another collaboration with another Digest media channel. It's going to be the Celtics Digest channel, just like we did for the Atlanta Hawks. It was a great conversation with those guys over there. So if you missed that, you can go check it out, because I was right on a couple stuff, wrong on others, but always good to talk basketball. We're going to be doing that same thing, though, for the Celtics channel, and probably going to be uploading it as well over here. So make sure to take a look at that. Look, if this team just first things first, over the next couple days, I'll come out with my own preview, but just a couple last thoughts for this video and first thoughts for this preview. Cole Anthony, I do think he should be starting, but regardless, we just need some more production out of somebody else other than Paolo and Franz. We know this, and it's going to have to come from the bench as well as one of the starters, whether it is KCP, Wendell Carter Jr., and Corey Joseph, or if it's just KCP, Wendell Carter Jr., and Cole Anthony. It's going to have to come from them, and Anthony Black is going to have to continue to play stout defense. If this team can do that, I'm not one who subscribes to the whole record against the Celtics, because it's very skewed. Mo and Jalen Suggs were in a part of those games, and I think in some of the games maybe Boston had some guys out. But I definitely think this team can give the Celtics some trouble. My initial pick is, I don't know if the Magic can extend this any further than 6, truthfully. But it won't be easy for the Celtics, and they're going to leave the series potentially with a couple bruises. And I think the Magic can kind of give a little bit of a preview to what they are capable of doing next year. This could be a very fun series, though. Hopefully, they can take a game on the road and we go back to Orlando tied up. I think that would be an awesome story. I think that would be great. But it all starts potentially with Cole Anthony helping out the two franchise stars. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about the Celtics series. Something we've been eyeing for a minute now, ever since we saw that we were pretty much locked in on the 7th or 8th seed in the play-in. So definitely let me know what you think in the comment section down below about that series. And as always, I will see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.